Welcome back for our final game of the evening. Joshi, are you ready?
I'm ready. It's almost over. These two teams are pushing each other to the brink, and it all comes down to one final game of League of Legends.
I can't wait. Chronologic Gaming Academy and Golden Guardians Academy. Your 5th seed, Chronologic Gaming. 4th seed, Golden Guardians. Battling it out game for game here. It's no win streak for anybody. Game 1 for GG, CLG next. Game 3 for GG, and CLG just came out with, honestly, an astonishing game, seeing Deus bring out something new. The rest of the team being able to play around a few different picks from Golden Guardians. So CLG not being thrown off, and also flexing a bit away of the way their initiation comp works, or their engage comp, I should say, which is good. We wanted to see a little spice and variety to that, because an engage comp can just kind of be one-directional.
Yeah, just being able to put Daves on these carries is going to help them quite a bit as they look towards potentially the rest of playoffs. Obviously, they got to still win this game.
Yep.
It's definitely something that the other teams do need to be careful of. And as we start getting towards this last game of the evening, you got to start looking at fatigue for these players. It's been a long day. We played 4 grueling games of League of Legends already. For people here on the on the West Coast, it is currently 8 p.m. and I don't think any of our players have had an opportunity to eat dinner yet. So they're hungry, they're tired, and just having the stamina necessary in order to actually close out this game is going to be absolutely crucial. So we're looking towards our veterans on the teams to potentially lead their way to victory.
Absolutely. You feed off that adrenaline at this point. You just kind of the mentality and everything, and I'm sure they're going over things once, twice, 3 times coming into this game, knowing what worked and knowing what they can now play against. Again, I think that Ashe, Graves, Thresh pickup that Golden Guardians felt so comfortable doing, they can go back to it. It's not a reason they lost or won, but now CLG knows they can get over that. The lane that's always trying to hook them to get onto them, they can play around it. And especially with the comp that CLG had, that Senna and Blitz bot wasn't the most powerful bot lane. And CLG still found ways to get around Golden Guardians before they could win and needed to win the fights. And that was really awesome to see.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch these games because it definitely feels like bot lanes have kind of been passengers for the rest of the map as just kind of potentially a place to go down and interact with, but not necessarily a force that you need to be super focused on getting ahead. Because even when got that double kill on Lucian, didn't necessarily have a whole lot of impact on the rest of the game. Even when we've been seeing Keith getting some of these small leads, it's not necessarily snowballing into a whole lot more. It's really been top, mid, and jungle kind of moving around, and sometimes the bottom lane just feels like a piggy bank where you just go to cash in to buy an item.
Get what you can, right? Especially if you're gangplanking, you're just ulting from the top lane. So coming into our game, number 5, let's update you. Golden Guardian, with an S, has chosen red side, and neither team has made any substitutions, and neither of the casters or the production crew. So continuity. Everybody's here. Everything's the same. You are ready for the next game. You got to experience Silver Scrapes. Thank you so much to the players for putting it all onto the Rift so we could once again get that in here for our first playoff match of the summer. It almost doesn't feel right until you get 5, until you get your Silver Scrapes, and you're like, yeah, we're back in there. Teams are pushing it to the max, and that's exactly what our 4th and 5th seed are doing here today. Now, TSM and Cloud9 await them on the other side. Or at least one, the winners, 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses, also have to face one of them as they play tomorrow for your 3rd and 6th seeds. But I think this game is definitely going to be different for both teams to think about who they want to play. Cloud9 is going to be considering, I think I kind of want CLG to win. I kind of got Golden Guardians to win right now. Who are they rooting for, you know?
For sure. Ooh, a Camille. Wait, never mind. That's the same.
Yeah.
That's the same.
And a Twisted Fate, I'm guessing. Maybe a Galio from Golden Guardians?
Ooh. We can mix it up and do the exact same thing once again.
Yeah. They really throw you off when they put it in a different position in the 1 through 3, and then you're just like, wait, how do I pick now? Does that mean I can... Okay.
Ooh, Caitlyn? Yeah, last time.
Caitlyn. It was.
Azir coming through for Tuesday. I mean, we saw that Damonte had a couple of fantastic Ziggs games, but I don't think that's something that a Blaze Olive is necessarily looking to do. Ziggs is kind of a passenger a lot of the time in the games that he is playing, simply because with Ziggs, you don't have the most playmaking potential. You're very reactive to a lot of the map, and not something that a Blaze Olive necessarily wants to do. We'll see what Golden Guardians wants to grab. This Olaf for hard coming through, moving away from the Graves.
Wow, yeah.
Wow, big change already, as we are seeing a lot of pressure coming through. I touched on the Karma last game as a potential pick into the Azir, because it allows your jungler to have a lot of freedom to move around because of your early power. We're going to see what they end up doing with it.
I can't wait. Joshi, this is like a go comp into a go comp. I'm excited to see what they pick on the side of CLG here. Just show me something that also can go into the fight. I mean, I'm not mad. It is a tank top, but it goes into the fight, and that's what I'm looking for right now. It overrides my sadness of not seeing cool fights top 1v1. I mean, Orin can still combo. I can't take it away from the big guy. He grabs the game by the horns. 12 seconds left. What does CLG have? Maybe the bot side, they've been showing their support lately, but this time, first 3, they show no bots. They first pick their Azir, and they show the top half of the map. A complete switch up here for Game 5.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Trundle going to Olaf for all the reasons we've talked about before. It's still true. Whoa. I would be surprised, but I would also be very excited if this is what Golden Guardians are choosing to do. Instead, they're going to be going back to the Ashe, which has been a staple for them throughout this series. Works well with the Karma, works well with the Olaf, trying to get things set up, because it does bring a little bit of that guaranteed engage that Golden Guardians have so desperately needed throughout some of their games. As we move to the second half of the ban phase, and now Wind and Phil are going to start feeling the effects of all of these bans.
I like the Yasuo hover. It reminds me of CLG's Yasuo Gragas's, which I always loved. That was a really fun comp, because you know you're getting fights at some point. Somebody just needs to hit a displacement. But yeah, Blaze Olive hovers that. They go back to Ashe. Good points there. And the Ezreal gets banned out. Okay, okay. Tryndamere, they are still afraid of the Trend. Well, honestly, I think they just now have in the back of their head, if we have no crowd control, we have to ban Sion, Spartans, Tryndamere, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, it's such a scary champion to deal with, and there's not a whole lot that they can bring that's consistent. Like, a Leona might be the only thing, but then you're kind of low on damage across the board.
I think Thresh is good, but it's unreliable, right?
Exactly.
If he gets away from you, it's like, well, I'll go for something else.
So with the Senna ban coming through, traditional logic would tell us that Jhin is almost definitely going to be the pick up here for Wind. But again, it is a little bit low damage. It is kind of tough to deal with the Olaf, but it is good into the Ashe in particular, because it allows you to set up a lot of crowd control. It makes gank assist very common. So would not be surprised if that is the pick up here for Wind. Obviously, it's got a well-known Draven. Could always bring that up as kind of a surprise pick, because they are saving their 80 carry pick for the last part of the draft. I think Draven might be pretty good.
All right. Pick Wukong. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really have a range. They won't. They just get kited all day now that you actually are against an Ashe. Yeah. So what range do they go? You're right. Saw Misfortunes back at the beginning of the split. Wind has gone Tristana, but not recently. There's Draven. The Kallista's quickly banned. Oh, okay then. It is going to be the Draven. It hasn't been a while. Play number 3 comes through, and it's Draven time.
I'm excited. What do they pair with this? Is this a Leona angle coming through? Is this an opportunity to bring it in? Just build this big old comp that just rolls into their opponents? Alistar, I like it.
I like the Leona a little bit more. You just amplify Draven's damage, but Alistar, you cannot go wrong when you know the fight is going to have shields, heals, and be a bit longer. You want a tank that can also outlast that fight. So, good pick in Alistar there.
Yeah, interesting coming through here as they're going to be hovering the Braum. I don't hate it, I don't love it. I feel like Golden Guardians have a couple ways to play this game, as they can play through hard, potentially blowing through Tuesday early on when paired with Karma, simply because of all the buffs that she does give to your team. On the other hand, They are going to struggle a little bit to deal with this front line of the Orange Trundle Alistar, not necessarily because they can't get away, but just because they are so tanky. It's going to be so difficult to actually bring these guys down. While also running away from Wind and Tuesday are going to have plenty of range of their own. And I'm a little bit worried for Golden Gardens because I think at the end of the day, if this Olaf doesn't get ahead early on, it feels a little bit out of place in the rest of the composition.
Completely agree there. It is going to be difficult. They see you running in, right? Glacial Fissure also isn't the most grandiose initiation. Maybe you can W to a minion in front of you, but still a little bit telegraphed that it is happening. So I do feel like Golden Guardians might have kind of pinched themselves into not having that aggression. But when you activate Ragnarok, sometimes it's the thing you need to disperse your opponent around. We'll see what can happen. The Draven pickup is there with the Alistar bot lane. I think this is going to be super awesome and aggressive. It's going to be a Trundle going down to initiate bot, especially if we see this lane being pushed in by Ashe volleys, Braum playing safe around Ashe. That's a long lane to gank those two in. So we'll see how the rotations go around the map. We've had 2 games, I think, where there was vertical jungling, and we'll see if they may do that to protect the Ashe and the Braum once again this game.
Yeah, I think the one other thing that we might see is obviously if this Olaf gets ahead, sometimes it doesn't matter that he feels a little bit weird in the rest of the composition. They have a Braum and an Olaf, 2 incredible level 1 characters, so I wouldn't be surprised if when all is said and done, we see a early invade, potentially a late invade to really put Froggus behind the curve in terms of his power and accelerate hard as much as they can. That's just speculation. I think it would be good, but it's also Game 5. You got to be careful with what plays you're willing to make, because if you give over a couple kills at level 1, you can end the game in your opponent's favor just as quickly as you can your own.
Well, we're about to find out who is feeling more confident right after the break. Don't go anywhere, everybody. We have Game 5 of Golden Guardians versus Counter Logic Gaming coming up right after the break for their final face-off. Don't go anywhere. back, we are getting into Game 5, and the highlight is Joshi.
It's here. It's time. The script, all of the planning throughout all of the day. The Keikaku is coming to fruition. You guys are still here with us. It's almost the end of the day. And we have some exciting games coming right your way between all of these teams. Golden Guardians, Counterlogic Gaming. We'll see what kind of draft they have going on. Or I guess the draft's already done. We'll see what kind of early game strategies they're going to have going on. It's late, Riv.
With great power comes great responsibility. You have to, with the glasses, sometimes it just melts your brain. But coming into this game, there is going to be some explosive play. We saw it already in the top lane, then carried by the junglers, then carried by the bot lane. So it's been coming from everywhere for both teams. And this time, it's kind of up in the air. Golden Guardians may have left themselves out to dry without a full-on initiation coming out anywhere in the composition. They do have the Ash Arrow, but you have to follow up on that. And if it doesn't hit true, you're left, again, out to dry. Counterlogic Gaming, they had momentum in Game 4. They came out strong. Deus has been able to really backs against the wall, Joshi, and just come out on top even in that instance.
Yeah, I'm really looking at Golden Guardians needing to find some really strong mid-game plays, some mid-game picks, potentially chaining a couple dragons together, just to the insane power that is going to be coming out from late-game Azir and Ornn. And one of the other big things that we're looking at is a lot of people look at Draven and they think it's like, oh, he's super strong early game, but he kind of falls off later on. And the only reason why he falls off is just because he has trouble getting in against a lot of these long-range characters. You think about like the Ezreals or the Azirs that Draven can't walk up to, or even things like the Ryze who just do a ton of damage at the same range that Draven does. But if you look at this composition, the only person that Draven's particularly worried about is going to be Kayle, who's going to be doing more damage at that point in the game at the same range. But everybody else, Draven is happy to walk up and hit. He doesn't need to worry about Ashe out DPSing him at any point in the game. He doesn't need to worry about Karma bursting him out and killing him at any point in the game. He is going to be able to constantly go forward and constantly be aggressive. As Zion, a little bit interesting. They might spot him. Do they get him? No.
They push in. See that little shaft of shadow up on the top left that was there when they were both standing in the brush? I miss when teams hid there. You hide one person just at the top lane, you push the other person up through Blue Buff River, and you kill them. They're getting a little antsy. Oh, big Q from a Blaze Olive.
Yeah, sometimes I have to remind myself that this is level 1 Kayle. She doesn't do a whole lot of anything.
Build up. Get those autos.
Oh, no. Hard.
No, don't go over the wall.
Oh, wait. Nice flash.
That was quick fingers right there by Hard. Gets himself to a safe spot on what would have been a headbutt back to his death. Wind and Phil now forced to go bot side as CS already being picked up by Keith. Hard will be able to get this jungle down on bot, and what a scatter here to start things off. I love it.
Yeah, both junglers working effectively with full information on where their opponents are, and this is a period where Hard is normally the one you're looking for. They're looking at Tuesday. He doesn't have an escape.
Flash is there, but it's going to be enough. I didn't think there was much of an escape either. As soon as he was slowed, usually that negates your flash. Back with the undertow. Damage is not there since the minion wave crashes in. And now Fragus may have an opportunity. Pillar could be there for him if he actually has it. It's just
he flashes.
Terrain and bite. Yeah, he just has terrain and bite. And he's going to get the frozen domain down enough. And he gets the kill at level 2. Trundle onto Hard's Olaf. Catches him out with the flash, with the bite. And bonks him on the head with a baseball bat.
What a huge momentum play coming up from Fragus. Puts Hard super far behind him. We already said this champion is a little bit out of place on the Golden Guardians composition. It's not going to do a whole lot in the late game, but it still needs to try and make plays early to justify its pick. And see if they are able to actually do as we see a replay. Look, he's just walking on a ward. They know he has no flash from the early invade and tries to get back to the rest of the team, but just doesn't have. I don't think you have the Vicious Strikes at level 2. That's normally a level 3 pickup. You can take the Reckless Swing to get yourself lower. Normally at level 2 as the Olaf.
Right. Yeah, you always want to heal up undertow. But if you activate W, you kind of mitigate a little bit of that if you're doing damage. It's a whole fun game of where's my health, but now I attack faster. Olaf was actually my first jungle. And I think it teaches a lot. It teaches you well because being low on HP and knowing what you can do, I feel like helps your fundamentals of where you can be able to push a champion. Here,
Aggressive.
they're going to push around Zion Spartan. Teleport coming into the top side. This is a Blaze Olive. The shield comes out fast if that happens. Maybe a chase from the Mantra shield. Just gives one to himself real quick. Mantra Q. And that Inner Flame doesn't give him too much. Or Soul Flare, rather.
Yeah, I don't know. That felt a little bit desperate to me coming from a Blaze Olive to do the TP there, because I feel like Zion Spartan could have gotten out regardless, but now he sticks around. Are you kidding me? Darshan!
Oh, they pillar the side of the turret, but he still has a path to get around, especially with healing himself. Gets himself to safety. Fragus cannot take too many turret shots just yet. And it's all magic resistance on the side of Deus for now, so you don't want him going in first either. A Blaze Olive meets Tuesday right off the bat, and he knows he can trade that damage and says, get out of lane, you need to go by anyways.
Yeah, well now the worrying thing for me, again, as the top lane, we see that it's level 4 Kale with a Cole is now having the wave pushing towards Deus's turret. This is a fantastic spot for Deus to try and freeze while Kale is still a melee champion. That means that Fragus can go up and continue to harass the Kale, potentially find a couple of kills now that there's no flash. Instead, on the other side of the map, Fragus is here potentially taking this Cloud Dragon. Whoa.
Oh, Phil's right into the middle. He gets locked up by the concussive blows, though. That's going to be hard going down. Chime very low. The CLG now sets themselves back up to figure out who they need to hit. Keith's firing in. Rangers focus not there. And it looks like Wind just building up on these Draven axes. Gets himself to safety. And has not cashed in just yet. Or maybe a little bit, but he didn't have anything built up, honestly. They get themselves back in. I was going to say to safety, and we just see one coming around the corner. I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to take him out, but a Blaze will be backing.
Yeah, and this game is starting to go really, really badly for Golden Guardians. We said that the Olaf needed to be ahead early on in the game to really be impactful, and now pretty far behind. You see his flash is down at this point. He tries to have an opportunity, gets jumped on by Phil, and the damage coming out from both Tuesday and Wind is enough, even through the exhaust. And the rest of their team, like, early Ashe doesn't do a lot of auto attack damage, especially compared to the Draven. Blaze Olive is kind of a one and done, and a lot of his damage with the Mantra Q, and they're able to just walk right on out as a nearly 1,000 gold lead starting to build up for CLG. And I think it's going to continue building at this point, simply because this Olaf 0-2 doesn't have a whole lot of tools to necessarily make plays in the near future.
And this becomes great practice for the team as well, getting to a Game 5, knowing how each other act in this situation. And Counterlogic Gaming has been to the playoffs before, but it's always good to be able to get this kind of play in, especially when you're the one seemingly having the momentum. Always good to help build up that veteran status. Tuesday getting pushed off here as a Blaze Olive finally returns to lane with Chalice. He'll have a good bit of mana built up now to just keep firing out Qs as Mantra, or that cost is not too high for Karma. And we just look towards top side. Level 6 for Zion Spartan, so he's slowly building himself up. Arisen now, and then he'll be a Flame at 11 and Transcendent at his top level. So slowly building up, then he'll look glorious. He had an okay kill last game, I'd say.
Yeah, he did fine. Again, we didn't necessarily see a whole lot out of the kill.
No, we
since it was that island 0-0-0 for most of the game. But now I think he's really going to be the one we're going to have to pay attention to for Golden Guardians, as CLG have kind of nullified the early game threat from the Olaf, and they have a particularly powerful Trundle and an Azir who's doing quite well with its 2 assists. And Zion Spartan's going to be the bulk of this team's damage, especially seeing as a Blaze Olive going to be rushing for this Fiend's Unholy Grail in order to heal up his team, but not necessarily going to be doing the same kind of damage as you might expect from, say, a Luden's Rush coming out from the Karma.
That feels so much better for Zion 2 to be ranged now at level 6. Oh, good flash by a Blaze Olive. Gets himself to safety. His flash and teleporter down, so he's going to want to hang out here for as much as he can. The blue buff's coming back up in just a short amount of time for them. And Hard actually pings on his Raptors. He's like, hey, I think they're coming for my attendees, but they're not. Don't worry. You get them all to yourself, as it should be.
Yeah. Now this is a little bit interesting, something I wasn't necessarily expecting. As we cast our eyes towards the bottom lane, you actually see that Wind is currently down more than 20 CS against Keith. And while Ashe is a very powerful early game character, obviously you have a ton of control over the wave, Draven is also a very strong early game character. You got a lot of damage coming out from your Qs, and as long as you can keep them spinning, you're going to be able to trade tit for tat. But it is kind of an auto attack based thing, and I have to imagine that Keith and Chime are doing a good job in making sure that the wave is never in a position where Wing and Phil can actually go aggressive. So props to the Golden Guardian bot lane. They might be able to have a larger impact on this game than I had previously expected.
I'm sure there's a lot of times where Chime can just kind of gain brush control, walk within the minions, and be like, oh, that's where your Q mark is? Slam him with a quick Winter's Bite, and then he can't get to the next one and misses an axe for a while, messing up CS a little bit. You can probably toy with him pretty good there. That's always one of my favorite things about playing against a Draven, especially if you're Leona. Then
you know exactly where he's going.
All day, you're like, okay, please catch axes. 10 minutes coming up on the clock. 700, I'm like 6,000 gold. What's my brain?
6,000 gold.
Yeah, quick maths online. It's game 5. My brain is game 10ing right now.
You've been doing this for long enough. You should know to never do math on
800s,
stream.
7. It's changing. I'm gonna do it as it goes right now. Quick. I need a locust point. Hit me up. Coming down from the top side. A little bit of Deus Roam. It's cool. Lumbering along. Put down some wards. Are they? I'm gonna say, is this a gank? He's fine on the minion wave, so I like the roam here. They're just taking their time as this game slows down.
That's a Joshi gank if I've ever seen it. Just walking down. It's like, is there anything I can do here? Nah. All right, I'm gonna go back top lane. I tried. Don't say I've never done anything for you. But now the Ocean Dragon is available. Teleport is available for Deus and Tuesday in just a moment, but not quite for Zion Spartan as we go for a gank.
3v3 to start things off. They're getting pushed back a bit. Here comes one teleport in favor of Golden Guardians as the top lane is still going mano a mano. They can't do too much to the will of Phil as he stays alive. The whirling death goes out, comes back in as they start cleaning up more minions, and that gap of CS is still staying for Keith and Wind. It's Drake time.
Yeah, they took a lot of HP off of Phil, took away his ultimate, and it looks like it's enough to convince CLG that this dragon is not worth fighting for. As a Blaze Olive getting a little bit of damage down, but you're not going to be able to kill this Azir with an Athene's Holy Grail. Unfortunately, you just don't have that much damage in your kit or off of your items. An interesting option coming in from Heart. He's choosing to go with the Warrior enchant on this Olaf instead of the Cinder Hulk, as you will often see from behind. And I really like this adaptation. Actually, you're still looking at opportunities to make plays in this mid game, and it's kind of like an LPL style philosophy instead of the LCK. Because LPL, you know, a lot of their members have said over the years, like, if you're behind, you need to build damage. And the reasoning is, if you have damage, you can outplay your opponents. But if you don't have the damage and just build more defensive stats, it doesn't matter how well you play, you just don't have the damage to actually kill anyone. And Hard knows that he's got a very limited window to actually be effective. So, might as well build damage.
He is going to continue to build damage. You don't want to relegate yourself to just being this tank with axes that tickle people. That's just awkward, okay? That's not the theme of Olaf, bro. He's going to try to do damage. He's going to try to steal your Scuttle Crab and then just walk away with Ragnarok. I don't know if Ragnarok is worth Scuttle, but it's going to be the fight on the bot side. Whirling Death goes out. Big damage coming in. Phil knocks him back. Keith going to die. No, he stays alive with the auto attacks on the turn and ignite on even. Phil with the headbutt to save his teammate, but saves Keith.
All right, Rib, we got a real game on our hands now. 2 kills going over to Zion Spartan. He's level 10. He's scaling up. He's looking to get the damage done. He's almost done with his coal, and they're going to be getting a ton of plates off of the bottom lane all of a sudden. And Kale scales so incredibly well, being able to do AoE splash damage to everyone. And now they're transitioning into the mid lane, potentially. No, he's going to be throwing down this Rip Herald. This is interesting. Right, normally you tend to see teams try and finish off a turret with the Rip Herald, but this has been something that Golden Guardians have consistently done. They just crash it. They're like, yeah, a couple of kills worth of gold. I'll take it. Tuesday caught.
Phil, Hex Flash over the wall, goes for the one that doesn't have Flash. That's a Blaze Olive. It just used it to get out. Phil going down low, even with that ultimate up. Oh my god, he got it with the Glacial Fissure. That's disgusting. You're kidding me. Chime. It is time. This guy has been playing well throughout the series, and he comes up with a pivotal kill on the back end of that fight.
Yeah, that's actually going to be really big. I wasn't expecting much of anything. A Blaze Olive going a little bit aggressive. Oh no, he gets him too! CLG, not like this.
Wow. Counter Logic having their own game flipped on them, and a taste of their own medicine being delivered. The 600 gold lead that CLG had is now a 2,000, 3,000 gold lead coming up for Golden Guardians as it just keeps mounting. And Golden Guardians is going to walk away. They haven't even spent this money yet, Joshi.
They have not. We're going to see how much they're able to pick up. It's just these small outplays. Like, once again, CLG earlier on the games where they're playing these skirmishes well, they're winning really hard. But these games where they're just making these small bad decisions like this one, getting caught, they're losing.
Oh, he's had his fill over and over. Keith picks up one for himself finally as he's 102, and that may have just became a Blade of the Rune King immediately as he built a cutlass and some daggers.
Yeah, that's going to be really helpful. They're trying to find a Blaze. You finally get him.
Back and forth. Shield's going to be there. Oh, way too stuck up in traffic right now. He gets jammed up, taken down. He just came back. I think the huge fight in mid. No, he got a kill on Tuesday. That's right. So they get revenge on him here. 33 seconds to come back for a Blaze Olive as it is just punch for punch as they get back into lane. And we can see what we mean about items being completed. Ardent Sensor, boom, a Blaze Olive's inventory there after these fights. Zion Spartan has a 250 gold bounty as he's still 2-0-0. We're going to get Harold Dean, Shelly's cousin. And Rift number 2 started up here at 15.5 minutes.
Yeah, and this game is really being much more chaotic than I was expecting it to be. I was not expecting Golden Guardians to have this kind of mid-game. When I said I was looking for them to be getting leads, I was talking about team fights. I was talking about going to the Dragon and potentially having these 5v5s where they have a powerful Olaf, the Karma on 2 items, and this Ashe with a completed Blade of the Rune King and maybe a Zeal on top of it. But instead, they're just winning in these skirmishes all across the map, and their power spike is really happening like right about now as Phil just walks on in. Unfortunately, 1 and 3 at this point. I mean, we talked about potentially a Leona coming through for Phil, which we would have liked a little bit better, but I don't think Leona would have saved him there. He just walked into the wrong part of the map, and so did Blaze Olive, apparently. I feel like he should have seen this coming since they've tried to make this play 2 times this game.
Yeah.
But now Dragon, I guess CLG do recognize that their opponents are on their power spikes and they're going to make sure that they don't play into that all at the same time. So this is going to be another Dragon going over to Golden Guardians, which puts them 2 away from Soul. Not the most important thing, but hey, every little bit helps keeping you alive for just a little bit longer.
Scuttle grabbed up. Back to reset here. 3,000 gold lead for Golden Guardians. Counter Logic Gaming getting the wards out. One of the best ways to stop an opposing team's snowball. Figure out where they are, get the intel, make plays that they cannot stop. Yeah, Chime, a little bit of a misclick there as he's taunting him out. He's like, I got money bags. You want something? Nope, never mind. They're mine.
Yeah, that feels like a powerful bluff where if they just call his bluff, he's like, I know you're alone. And he just instantly dies because he doesn't have flash. It's still coming up. But just that power move, right? We were talking about it earlier when Zion Spartan was like, I'm Tryndamere, you can't kill me. I have teammates.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to do the exact same thing here, and luckily he gets away with it, which means that the CLG aren't going to be able to crash this wave into the turret. But it's definitely a thing that, hey, if that was solo queue, these guys would have just like, oh, opponent, we fight, and jump on him.
Clean up here by Key. See what they could set up. 3.5 minutes for Drake, 2 minutes for Baron. And right now, the fight kind of just goes both ways. We've seen Golden Guardians able to kind of dance it out around Phil's ultimate, around what Wynn's damage could be, and dodging out on quite a few of the Emperor's Divide. But that means CLG is consistently trying. Here again, trying for mid. They get it with Rift Herald, and now they have the option to go from top to mid without any turret interference from the side of Golden Guardian. So CLG again on the rotations. Joshi, we were talking about earlier, they're bringing it back for you, man. A little bit of the rotations.
Oh, they used, I don't know if Zion Spartan saw that, but that is his escape button to try and get away from Zion Spartan's damage. But luckily, Zion Spartan still going to be struggling to chew through this Ornn. He does a lot of damage, but potentially missing the items to just back up the natural scaling of his champion.
Yeah.
Mid lane turret goes down for
Good trade.
CLGA as well. So this is pretty good. Hard, I mean, Hard is still a threat. There's a lot of members he can kill if he can stand on top of them. And I think, you know, this damage is nice because he does have a lot of effective health coming out from the other teammates between the ultimate from Kale and the shields coming out from a Blade Olive. Obviously, you know, his health bar is a lot larger in practice than it is as you see on your screen. So he can be much more aggressive, but he can't do it alone, right? Just as we were looking at Chime being aggressive, just like, haha, I have teammates here, but he really didn't. Hard can definitely fall into the same trap if he feels too big for his britches.
I like how we ban out Nidalee and other things that'll heal, and then you have Redemption coming out and Athene's on the Karma because they know these fights are going long. You need an extra boost to get yourself through these fights. Here, Deus is going to need a big boost to get himself out. And it doesn't look like Golden Guardian's fully committed, as Ablaze will have this turret to himself, and he will take that gold and give some to his team. So, looking at where things are now, just about a 5,000 gold lead. Not too shabby, you could say, Joshi. Golden Guardians really setting the pace this game, figuring out what works, what doesn't. A bit of a lead in the mid lane. The CS lead is now 30 on that bot side. Nasher's Tooth finish for Zion Spartan. He's close to being transcendent, so things happening quick.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we touched on this previously. Golden Guardians, they do have impending doom coming their way if they don't do anything fairly, they have like some time, right? But the Azir is going to outrange everybody on Golden Guardians.
Yep.
He's going to be doing a crazy amount of damage, and Zion Spartan is going to be doing also a crazy amount of damage, but it's hard for Zion Spartan to walk into Tuesday. So we'll see if they can do something fairly soon, right? We talked about they're going to have a little bit of trouble chewing through this front line between the Ornn, the Trundle, and the Alistar, where they just need to grind them down over time. But they also, as we also said, they need to be very careful of Tuesday grinding them down at the same time because they don't have the same kind of health bars. And, ooh, Zion Spartan's thinking about it, but not gonna go for it just quite yet. Wisely, let's ships past in the night. Oh, okay, maybe not. He might get caught here. He's looking for Tuesday. Who finds who?
Oh, he doesn't want to fight him. Dashes around it. Little cat and mouse game, that's all.
Yeah.
They'll find each other eventually. Heading over to what is the Baron buff to make sure it is warded up. Your final game here. There's definitely a bit, of that play style playing not to lose here, but both teams obviously want to win. The combo almost coming through. Another knock up. Ragnarok is there for him to get out. Flashes forward. That brittle proc, and there's cash in. Going in for wind on the whirling. Deathfill goes for another fight here as the team behind him trying to engage. Zion Spartan goes gold and Kale's ultimate. And Chime starting to take the damage as Tuesday shuffles Chime back. Flashes every which way, and Golden Guardians is able to keep most of their members alive. They have only lost Hard in the initial engage, but Drake goes to counter Logic Gaming. 5,000 gold down, they said, hell no, we're taking this fight.
Yeah, I was surprised. This was seemed like a slam dunk for this Earth Dragon. You saw that a number of members of CLG were on the top half of the map, but they only committed Hard to actually picking it up. And I like the confidence from Deus. He knows that if Hard's the only one there, he can fight him as his Ornn. He's got a ton of base damage. He's got 2 upgraded items in his inventory, in the Forge Fire Cape and the Infernal Mask, and it's very difficult for Hard to turn things back on its head. And because of that, sniping the jungler, we saw this earlier. Golden Guardians, when Deus was playing the Mordekaiser, didn't have Hard. He couldn't go in for the smite. If you just kill him, he can't try and take away any of these objectives. And again, if Hard dies, you can't go for these objectives. Good job on Deus to once again take down the opposing jungler so that the rest of the team can just play pretty easily. You see, he just comes over, he's like, oh, hello, Mr. Olaf. I would like to play with you a little bit. Almost gets the kill all on his own, and then the whirling dead from wind, catching him out because there's no flash left.
Gets him right on the tail end. The fight ensues. Tuesday doing a bit more shuffling here, but everybody lives. They get out somehow. These fights are so touch and go right now. But that's what we like to see. We wanted both teams getting to the fight, and that is going to be Drake for Counter Logic Gaming. 1 cloud and 1 ocean apiece, and then the mountains begin. Now 2 away from Seoul for each, and we have another 3.5 minutes until our next mountain, Joshi. Things are starting to heat up, though. Deus is now 14 as the teammates start to get up there, and he can start to distribute a few items to his teammates. Like you said, that Azir is only going to get bigger. We'll see where his position is most of the time. Right now, against Zion Spartan on the bot side, but Teleport is ready for a fight.
Yeah, he's also level 15, not quite up to that full power Transcendent, as you said. He's getting close, though. Gonna have a ton of extra power to play with, but he's also got to be careful. We saw in that last fight that he was standing farther forward than was potentially safe, and Tuesday was able to get on top of him, force the ultimate out relatively early. That's not something that they can afford to do in long periods of this game. Now, we can also see Zion Spartan obviously does a ton of damage to everybody else in these team fights, but he's also an incredibly potent split pusher on this Kale, simply because Deus, even though he's very tanky, will eventually go down as Keith is caught.
Oh, Subjugate goes out right away, and this is going to be the fight in the mid lane as it is just an all-out brawl. Golden Guardians tries to scatter from the Ornhorn. Arrow comes right back across and hits Deus in the kisser, but nobody's going down. Zion Spartan Whirling Death has to throw the kill ultimate on himself, and it is a run for Zion's health bar now. He turns around, tries to get the kill, the shutdown going over to Wind as it is just blowing everybody over. A few more kills for Counter Logic Gaming, and they have sealed this fight in their favor. They are now 2,000 gold down, but in full control.
Phil gave me a heart attack there when he saved Keith's life, but it doesn't matter. They still have enough power. They still have enough bulk on their front line that they're able to withstand all the damage coming through from Zion Spartan, all the damage coming through from Keith, and now they're being able to pick up this Baron, and despite the fact that they are 4,000 or 5,000 gold down before all of this, they're still able to find all of these fights anyway. Who needs any of these dragons when you're able to find this big purple worm? Gosh, Phil, it's been a long day for us too, so I feel it, man, but you gotta make sure you get those combos so you aren't taking Keith on the other side of the wall. Watch this again. Froggus goes through, locks down Keith. Phil's like, nope, I got you, buddy. He's able to continue pumping out damage, but it is still a big fight. Zion Spartan comes through and tries to trade with Wind, but he's only 15, doesn't have the damage necessary, and there's so much lifesteal on top of this Draven. Zion Spartan tries to run away, gets caught by a pillar, and from there, everybody else is just caught. They think that they can try and save Zion Spartan, but they couldn't. You think you can, but it's not enough. As 3 kills go in favor of CLG, giving them a huge point of pressure on the map.
That Deus arrow block, I don't even... It doesn't look possible when Keith fires the arrow with where Deus and Tuesday are standing, but somehow they switch positions, and that arrow did not hit Tuesday. What a play all around. Just things falling in favor of CLG right now as they are getting themselves set up. Fraggus says, nah, here, check this out. This is my trophy. But you can touch it. And now he's going to get himself back into the middle of the lane after dodging that enchanted crystal arrow, and he laughs in the face of his opponents. CLG's feeling good, and they bring the engage comp in different forms for the last few games, and that's what we've been asking for.
Yeah, Deus goes down here off on the side. Zion Spartan without teleport compared to both Tuesday and Deus knows that he needs to be around. His damage is so important. As Keith potentially caught again as here comes Phil.
An unstoppable hard runs around with Ragnarok. Fraggus is going to get slowed, but no follow-up. A blaze of trailing over. Deus is as well as a body armor and just security shield for the team. Basically, they're just wearing Deus whenever they need to. Like, step in front, put Deus in front. He is our body armor right now, and he is practically untouchable with his build. And they get Drake. That's going to be 3. And Choshi, look at this team. Ornn, Trundle, and Alistar. How much do you want a Mountain Drake sold?
Oh, so much. It's so valuable. Hard and it is so big, but there is a small bit of consolation prize coming through for Golden Guardians. Is now Zion Spartan level 16 and also has 3 items. He finished the Ginsu's Rage Blade. So he's going to be auto-attacking very quickly. He's got a lot of pen to slowly chunk through all of these members. We'll see if it's going to be enough. It is still so much beef, pun intended, that they got to get through. It's going to take them so long to actually do it, and now this Baron buff, they still got a couple of seconds on, so they should be able to grab at least one more turret here. Ew.
Just watching Phil off on the side do these flashes.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
He's just like, he knows he's partially seen, so he's tempting, and he's just throwing them out. The one in the mid, the one there. He's flashing all over.
Arrow.
Oh! Well, blam! Oh, goes right through. Not going to happen. Is this a chase? No, okay.
Nah.
I was like, wait a minute, everybody, the camera's panning. Am I getting baited? 30 minutes coming up on the clock, 3.5 minutes onto the... Oh my word, Counter Logic Gaming doing just that. They're using Counter Logic as they blast themselves over the wall into the fog of war. If they win this fight, it's off sheer action and reaction that's happening in this one. And it looks like so far they haven't been able to see what's coming out of the woodwork from Golden Guardians. That's the Ornhorn going across, and it's not going to get fired back by CLG. He goes in, Deus almost goes down, the shuffle into the wall, Tuesday! Can he get the team fight that CLG needs, and they are able to come up huge on this one. Wind lives, Fragus comes up with a double kill, and they've done it! Counter Logic Gaming wipes Golden Guardians off the map!
Oh my gosh, that team fight had so many points where it could have gone back and forth. In the end, CLG stand with 3 members still alive, and I don't know if they can quite end this game. Chime is already alive. They got a lot of structures they got to dig through, but this is going to give them a ton of map pressure. They are finally in a gold lead. They pick up yet another turret on the map. 2.5 minutes left before the next Mountain Dragon spawns. 1.5 minutes left on the Baron, but it's gotta be a confidence boost coming out for the members of CLG this late in the game, this late in the day, to potentially have one more fight between them and moving on to their next playoff sprint.
Oh my word. These are exactly the things we need to see. Expect the unexpected. First pick Azir for Tuesday for plays like that, for follow-ups like that. The team being behind each other, Joshi, you were talking about it, all in on the play and never hesitating. How about we blast glass cone over the wall into darkness? Sweet, let's do it. CLG comes out on top. They are vibing right now. 12 and 7 on the kills. Now they have a 2,000 gold lead. They've come back 7,000 gold, and they sit in the lead. And the arrow, once again, that's going to hit the tank on the front line. Chime now on the front, and he's going to be going down first as the damage starts to come through. Chime lives with that shield as the Ornhorn goes across. That's an unstoppable Ragnarok, but they still kill him. Counter Logic Gaming is just stomping on Golden Guardians right now, even when the initiations are started by the enchanted Crystal Arrow of Keith.
Yeah, Ablaze Olive wasn't there at the beginning of the fight. He didn't have his art sensor to go down, and now this might be the end of the game. It's all on Zion Spartan and Ablaze Olive to do what they can to chew through these guys, potentially deal with win, but look at that damage going down onto Chime.
Counter Logic Gaming, your 5th seed versus the 4th, and Golden Guardians planting the seed in their opponents' minds as they will move on. They will bring it to a Game 5, and their eyes on the prize, the Nexus, after the kills, and Counter Logic Gaming Academy will take down Golden Guardians to move on in the summer playoffs.
Wow, big congratulations coming out to CLG at the end of the day. Able to take it down after 5 grueling games.
Wow.
They're smart, they played the rotation-based gameplay. Not a whole lot of big surprises, but again, that's not what you don't need to do that. You just need to play it the way that you know how. You need to choke out your opponents, and this game, they finally did it for a 5th time, as we see. What a great composition they built for themselves. It's so hard for Olaf to operate in this. It's so hard for even your Ashe and your Kayle to deal with the range that Azir is bringing to the table, and CLG just playing fantastic. Whenever they're actually ahead, they just slowly choke you out of the game.
And looking at how strong they were able to play it out as we just kind of roll some of the mid-game highlights here throughout it. Looking at the composition, CLG had to pull all the stops out, right? They just had to say, we need something new. Let's start pulling this and that out. And the beginning of the game, you know, started off as you would think. fights in the bot lane, fights in the top lane, CLG going down, Golden Guardians getting a bit of a win on being able to call what's happening, and we thought the laning phase might go for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big opportunity for Zion Spartan to potentially snowball this game through, but we also see, as that goes through, the power of the Ornn. You just got too much health, too much resistances for the kill to really deal with. You got to find some of these leads earlier on, and unfortunately, Hard, who has been such a staple character for Golden Guardians, wasn't able to do that this game. He fell behind too early and was never really able to recuperate his losses.
And, right, seeing those plays, you're like, dang, Golden Guardians came out strong. They looked good. But then we fast forward to a fight around Dragon where CLG said, oh, let's have Deus go very hard on jungler hard, throws out the ult, blows his flash, and the result from all of this was huge, Joshi.
Yeah, again, killing the jungler means that there's no smite available, and we can see how powerful this is every single time Zion Spartan steps too far forward. And he's trying to carry the game. He knows that the situation is dire. He knows he needs to take some risks, so he wants to find an opportunity to fight somebody. Unfortunately, CLG called his bluff. That's what CLG does. They play smart, standard League of Legends. It's why they aren't going to go for Chime in that time when he walks forward, because they know they don't need to. They don't know what the risk on this is going to be, so they can play much more safely. And here we see exactly that. It's Deus just walks forward, and from here, nobody can touch Tuesday. He's going to be able to free hit. Win is going to be able to free hit because he's got people in front of him. Zion Spartan goes down, and then the rest of the fight just crumbles around him. CLG playing smart, playing controlled, and it's going to be able to win them this final game.
So strong. That fight was the one we saw, you know, the turnaround fights there, that one leading up to Baron for them. So many things they were able to do to come back. And I think a lot of what they did, honestly, was something we thought maybe their mental was too down for, or they didn't have it in them. The windows were too small, but they executed on the comps, Joshi. CLG found very small windows to hit a little bit of vision here or there that they work with in a fight like this where they see Golden Guardians for a second and re-attack. This is the kind of stuff that takes the better teams that are above them in the standings by storm. And watch out for CLG if they play this way, continuing through the playoffs. Yeah,
for sure. And even though we saw it right there, again, like Tuesday going forward and finding that 4-man Shuriman shuffle, very cool. But it also, like, that's not how they played most of the day. That's not what they were doing. They weren't looking for these big plays. They're just like, again, basic competencies. I will be in the right place. I will do what my team needs me to do. And they did it fantastically. And I'm excited to see what they're able to do against some of our higher variance teams as they move further into the playoffs, because it is a situation where CLG can beat any team if the team that is potentially better than them is just having an off game.
That's what you get out of counter logic, right, Joshi?
Well,
it's been a pleasure, man. We'll be back in just a little bit to go over the game more. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Deus to chat with him about their victory. So meet us here after the break. Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. I am joined by the victorious Deus. Dude, what a game. First off, congratulations overall, bringing it to Game 5 and taking the victory.
Thank you.
I got to ask you, first off, how are you feeling? Obviously, you were focused a lot this game, but you also showed up and were the carry of a few of these in the series. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling pretty good. It was definitely a crazy series. We knew they were going to go in with this split push style, try to play towards Darshan, get him ahead. And the top counter pick became really important throughout the series. So on the red side, I was able to counter pick him twice and get really good matchups, Mordekaiser and Vladimir, and carry those games.
I gotta ask you, what were your? Obviously, you can just kind of slough off game one when they pick something weird. But what were your thoughts during the Tryndamere game? Like, please, just get me out of here. Let me do something else. I know I can do this.
Yeah, we were expecting something like a Jax or a Fiora since the buffs came in, but I guess Tryndamere was also an option for them, and that matchup is pretty brutal for GT. Like, he just has so much sustain, you can't really do anything to him. Can't stop him from snowballing.
Right on. Yeah, absolutely. You had a little bit of time as well playing against TL and EG on the main stage. Were you able to take quite a bit from this and kind of strengthen your play? How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, my time in the LCS was definitely a good learning experience for me. I took a lot of things out of it, and I feel a lot better about my play now.
That's awesome. I got to ask Joshi said, what were your thoughts on the Kale coming out? Are you comfortable playing against that? You said you were getting like the Jax or something else. Did you also, were you surprised by that as well?
Yeah, Kale's a pretty common counter pick into Ornn. I think we as a team think that Kale doesn't really provide too much to a team. Like, she'll get a CS lead on Ornn, she'll like split push a little bit, but in that last game, we adapted pretty well, and we just ended up sending the Azir to match the Kale, and she can't really do anything to Azir in the side lane. So the Kale pick was just completely...
Right.
Yeah, it was stopped by that.
Yeah, some of the fights in the end game I'm just remembering were so awesome. The final fight with the push and the ultimates you had as well, blocking some of the arrows you saved for Tuesday. All of the play the CLG had coming out of the final games was really awesome to watch. One more final question for you, Deus. What's the team working on? It seems like the confidence is there for you, but what has been worked on in the past few weeks and going forward to make sure playoffs continue like this?
Past few weeks I've been just working on widening our champion pools to make sure we have more options in these best of fives, as we can't really get target banned out in future games.
Awesome. Well, I definitely saw that here today, and a lot of unique picks for both teams, especially for CLG. Deus, thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck in playoffs.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we're taking a quick break. When we come back, Joshi and I will break down the day, and we'll talk about more playoff format. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us through this awesome 5-game day. Myself and Joshi very happy to be able to deliver that set of games to you in a back-and-forth series between Logic Gaming and Golden Guardians Academy. If you're just joining us, you're very sorry. It was the 4th versus the 5th seed, and the 5th seed CLG came out on top. So with that, the best of 5 win today for CLG. They face off against either TSM or Cloud9 Academy in next week's semifinals.
Yeah, as we take a look at the bracket right now, there we go. We're seeing a big opportunity here for CLG to continue pushing forward. Obviously, Cloud9 gets to choose whether or not they want to play up against CLG or the winner of 100 Thieves versus Evil Geniuses. And it's going to be interesting. You saw Nori in chat saying, I wonder who we're going to be picking. Well, we still have to see who their other option is. With CLG taking that one down, it's going to be a very interesting choice for sure.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at our schedule and how things will be play out, how you can catch it, where you can catch it when. Tomorrow's playoffs begin at 1 p.m. with LCS. FlyQuest taking on Evil Geniuses Academy. After that series ends, Academy will return with 100 Thieves versus Evil Geniuses Academy. So don't forget to tune in all weekend long as LCS playoffs continue, along with the bit of those Academy playoffs intertwined. It's going to be awesome. Academy playoffs still following the 6 teams, LCS moving to the 8 teams, which makes it wild. I cannot wait to see what happens up there. But how are you feeling for 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, and kind of the outlook for what we may get here in Academy playoffs?
I think it's interesting. I think both teams have been showing us a lot throughout the season, and ultimately, it's going to be very interesting to see what these two teams can actually bring. 100 Thieves have been bringing in a lot of new players in and off the Academy team. I'm excited to see what else they can do because they're playing at all levels. They're playing in Academy, they're playing in LCS, and don't forget, SGC, if you want to see all the new talent coming through, 100 Thieves next. Also playing there. That's where we rock Kenry from. We'll see who else we can bring.
And we get to see him tomorrow. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us here. So now on behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for all the playoff action.